And that's it. We're live. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris from MediaFreshPress.com. This is Nathaniel Brennis from OneMoreCupOfCoffee.com. And I'm choking. Sorry about that. Today we're going to talk about audiences. Probably get veered off into several other topics that don't make any sense, but that's okay because that's what we do. So, how was your week, Nathaniel?
Crazy. A lot of stuff going on. Got my countertop installed finally, which is great. It's crazy. I haven't had a countertop for like 3 months, and I was almost afraid to use it today. I was like, I can actually like cut stuff on it, and I have a sink now where I can wash. You know, before like the dishes would stack up, or I'd like put them in the dishwasher. But anyway, small convenience.
Yeah, I've had to do that too. We lived for about a week without a countertop and stuff like that because we were remodeling. It's amazing how much you rely on the countertop.
Yep. I mean, I've been in the bathroom sinks. I've been washing my dishes. I've been washing my paint stuff, but like they're a mess. I totally ruined my bathroom sinks just because I didn't have anywhere else to do that stuff.
Well, at least you got it sorted out now.
So. Yeah. Anyway, I'm surprised you haven't asked me yet about Penguin 4.0. Have you heard about that?
I have, man, but I've been going nonstop, so I really haven't. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I really haven't been spending a whole lot of time on social media. Period. I get on Google Plus occasionally, but I'm getting ready to move. So there's that going on, and I'm in the process of kind of trying to position my site a little bit better. I've got a couple new clients, so social media hasn't been real high on my list. And when I seen Penguin 4.0, I was like, that sucks. I wish I could talk about that, but I don't have time. Have you read anything about it? What's going on? I heard something about eBay got hit. So
really? No, I didn't hear. I guess you're more up on it than me. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't read much about it. I think the headline was, "Is eBay, Penguin 4.0 ready?" or something like that. Let me find that again.
What I heard is it was just a quality content update, like nothing new. You know how like they hit the blog networks, that was new when they did the spammy link update, like that was new. This I feel like was just a bigger version of like a regular Panda update.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know what % of sites they say were affected.
7.5.
Oh wow, that's pretty big.
No, 7.5%. So I guess that is pretty big, but I mean,
I know it's like some of the updates, they do like continual updates all the time, but some of the ones they listed as actual updates were like 1%, 1%, something like that. So I think 7.5 is pretty big.
Wow, I didn't realize. I will say this: if you remember last week, we were talking about how I was getting not a spike in traffic, but I was getting more traffic than usual. And I remember I was saying that I hadn't posted in a while because we got on this whole conversation of posting once a month and marketing that post. So I think that's what happened because, like I said, this has never really happened before. So I thought maybe it was just one of those things. I mean, I was putting it out there a little bit more on my site, but I mean, not really. The time I was spending on social media was pretty much, it wasn't like I was helping other people's sites. I was doing mostly my own stuff. So, but that traffic has stayed. It hasn't gone down at all yet. So I'm thinking that I must have got hit with the good side of it.
Yeah, because I'm sure they don't do all sites at once. I'm sure it's a rollout, like when they roll out features, like they give it to some users, they do a little bit at a time to test it, and then do everything and give it like an official date. So I'm sure there was a bit of that. My traffic actually tripled, which was crazy in 3 days. It was insane. I mean, some part of it is definitely not due to the update. It was just some posts that I happened to rank for that got a lot of traffic. And it's hard to say which came first, the chicken or the egg. Like, I started getting a bunch of this traffic, which is crappy traffic actually. And then suddenly, I'm looking in because sometimes I go in and I look at hourly how much traffic I'm getting just to see like where my time per day is, when like traffic spikes are during the day, so I can release my content during those times. And I totally lost where I was going to go with that. So
you were saying that you tripled your traffic and that some of it isn't good traffic.
Oh, right. So I was looking in real time, and I was noticing a lot of posts that normally get no action were suddenly having visitors on there. So more of my regular posts are getting more traffic as well. So I think it's a combination of things.
Yeah, that's good news, though, man. Tripling your traffic, that's gotta feel good. Damn it.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's like the best feeling is in the world is when Google Analytics has to they have to bump you up a higher number. Like if you're getting between 400 and 600 consistently, then that top line is 700, and then then when they have to bump you up to like whatever that higher number is, you can see like all this tiny traffic below, and then this big line going up like that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that day, man. I really gotta, like I said, I'm in the process of we'll get to that with Media Fresh Press, but that's good news. Megan has a comment here, but I think she says, yes, we all had to change our passwords, etc. I think you're talking about Heartbleed, Megan. We're talking about the Penguin 4.0 update, which is probably not 4.0. It's probably like 12 point something else.
Yeah, I saw something posted in WA about having to change eBay passwords, but I didn't read it.
Oh, is that what she's talking about, eBay?
Yeah, I think it was specifically eBay. I didn't read the post, though. I don't understand how Penguin would have affected the passwords.
No, I still think that's got something to do with that Heartbleed thing.
It says eBay was hacked.
Yeah, that's Heartbleed.
Huh.
Which is kind of scary because if it was able to get into eBay, which they say a large majority of the site was hit with this thing, but if they were able to get into eBay, they own PayPal, so that's kind of scary, man.
That is scary.
I did change my password. I haven't had any problems, but my brother did. Not with Heartbleed, though. So I'm looking at this thing. I'm trying to see what it says about eBay. It must have just been one headline I read somewhere about it getting hit with 4.0. I see all kinds of stuff about it getting hit with Heartbleed, though. Guy Kawasaki's complaining about it, so it must be pretty traumatic if the big guys are talking about it. Anyway, I guess we'll move on. Our topics this week are, finding your audience and, kind of directing your content and stuff like that to your audience. So I kind of picked that because this is something I've been working on. I've lost sleep over trying to figure this out because, my blog, I've got a few people that I want to talk to on my blog, and it's not easy to try to figure out, how to write your content, because you're supposed to write your content to one person, right? Well, that's difficult when you're trying to do 3 different things. So you got to stop doing 3 different things, or you really got to find a way to do it. Anyway, I've looked really hard into, how much a blog's audience, like how important is this topic, and I'm finding more and more that it's really important, man. I used to skip over these kind of posts, like in WA or something, when you'd see somebody talking about your audience, or when you'd see a YouTube video talking about, create your perfect avatar. I just skip over. I'm like, who cares about that crap? But I'm realizing now that was a mistake. So, and I've had to deal with it. That's why the site's kind of been on hold a little bit too while I figure that out. So I've looked into it pretty hard. I've got some cool stuff, I think. But have you put much thought into that with your site?
I did at one point. And yeah, I had a really hard time defining my audience, um, which I know, like me as a if I was talking to myself a year ago right now, I'd probably slap myself because I used to hate, like you said, talking about find your audience is like
Yeah.
I don't know that typical like social media type jargon where it's like nobody knows what you're talking about. But as you as you write content and you see people commenting on your blog and you kind of develop this personality, then you get more of a feel of what quote unquote finding your audience really is.
Mm.
And for me, I think I mentioned before, like I started out, I wanted to be like a financial advice blog where I wanted to talk about stocks and all that stuff, real estate investing, money management, budgeting, all that type of stuff, and then have make money online be the just part of that. And then I slowly refined it to just make money online. And then I realized as I dug into make money online, then I realized there's like all kinds of different ways to do that. And so now I've kind of refined it to just affiliate marketing. And that's more of like the topic, but then when I talk about my audience, it's like who is going to benefit most from visiting my site. And by doing that, by figuring out who I want to get the most out of my site, I'm able to write better content because I can target it towards those people, and um, I am able to. I don't know what. Maybe I had too much coffee today. I'm losing track of what I'm thinking. Uh, I'm able to focus more on what my priorities are. I mentioned before I get a lot of negative comments from people who are mad about the reviews I do, and I get a lot of people that are mad that I don't try stuff. You know, I'll write a negative review of some MLM product, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't try it, so you can't say it's bad." And that used to really bug me, but as I defined that my audience was people who would not benefit from that, I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm not writing it for you. If you disagree with me, great. All the power to you. Thanks for the comment. See you later. And I feel comfortable having my opinion that if you come to my website, I recommend you do not go with that company. I think that this is going to be your best path for success. And it's not the only way to make money, and it's not the only way that these people can succeed, but it's like this is my home, and this is what I think you will best benefit from. And the people that it resonates with are my audience, and the people that it doesn't, you know, can go somewhere else.
Yeah, and that that brings up one of the points or one of the benefits that I was looking for when I started digging into this is what you said was you talked about not trying something because it didn't you looked at it right off the bat it's not for your audience. So that's one of the benefits right there of knowing your audience, because how much time did you save not only with that one product but how many other products? So I mean time and money right there. So I think that's just when you know who you're talking to, it's a big deal, because as you're writing, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I'll be writing and then I'll say, write something and I read it back to myself and I'm like, man, what am I trying to say here? Is this guy gonna get it? And if he does, what about this other guy? I mean, am I leaving people out here? Do I need to leave them out? Am I leaving out the wrong people? So, I don't know if you ever do that when you're writing. You get kind of confused about it's kind of like the he or she thing. Some people will write he does this or she does that, and that's because they know exactly who they're talking to. That's kind of a weird example of it, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. I think.
Yeah. I always find it tough when I'm using that third person perspective. I think that's third person. Yeah. Where you're like, okay, you're showing an example, you're like, well, then he would this, but for every single time you have to write he/she, or you have to find a mix of like you say he sometimes and she sometimes. And I mean, I didn't put so much thought into it where I was like, okay, I have to use he all the time or I have to use she all the time. Um, but it's just
Yeah, that was kind of a bad example, but I think it kind of shows what I'm talking about a little bit.
no, but you're right. You can choose to pick one of those. You know, if you're doing the mommy blogging thing,
Yeah,
then you're gonna write she. If you're like a kind of bro type guy, then you're gonna write he for whatever you're talking about. And it might exclude some people some of the time, but you're looking for your audience.
yeah, and they always say that, or I don't know if you've heard this or not, but they always say that you can't try to market to everybody. That's why niche marketing is so uh, it works so well because you're finding that niche. Not everybody cares about Penguin 4.0. A large majority of people don't even know what the hell we're talking about if we say that to them. So um, trying to please everybody when you're writing or marketing is just not going to work. So I mean that kind of proves it that if you can get niche down, say your niche is SEO or whatever. Well, who in that niche? You know what I mean? And that's what I'm in the process of trying to do. Not necessarily in the SEO niche, but it's a difficult task, man.
I read part of a book from Erica Napolitano. I don't know if that's how you say her name. And I think it was called The Power of Unpopular. And her deal was that you define your audience by excluding people. Like you figure out who you don't want to be in your club, and then whoever is left, then that's your audience. And then like you make these people, you don't go out and make them mad on purpose, but by distancing yourself from those set of people, then you automatically like gain the not the admiration, but you gain the respect and you gain the trust of people who share the same values as you. You're like, these people. Now maybe I'm like twisting her message, but basically, I'll leave it there. Exclude those people, and then you end up by default including certain people with the same set of values. Done.
Right. Like I got a post on my blog about YouTube, fixing your YouTube channel. I mean, this is another kind of obvious kind of example, but when I wrote the post, I really only wrote it because I figured out how to do it, and I knew people out there were looking to do that. Now, not everybody that reads that is going to, or not everybody that comes to my blog is going to care about that post, right? Some of them don't use YouTube to market. Some of them might, but they don't care about that specific thing. So while I was writing that post, I mean, it made it so easy to figure out. I mean, I wrote that post so quick because I knew exactly who I was talking to. I knew what they wanted to hear, what they needed to know, and it was easy. You know what I mean? So writing the whole blog like that, which I know is probably kind of impossible to do a whole blog, that way, but that's what I've been driving at this past for a while, really. There's one thing I came up with, or I found, I didn't come up with it. It was called this, I don't know if you've heard people say, you got to create this avatar, your perfect person or whatever. And
Yeah.
I was always like, who cares? But I realized once I did that, and I did it by using this thing, they call it XYZ.
I was wondering what that was. I
Yeah.
saw XYZ and I was like, is that a space saver there? Is that like something to add later?
So I've got it right here. So X is help, Y is
Hold on,
do.
can we see? I don't think we can see.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Probably not. So you really can't see it. So X is help, Y is do, and Z is so, right? So you take X, Y, and Z like I just said there. X is help, Y is do, Z is so. So I help people do blah, 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 so. Get what I'm saying? So the
Okay.
X is the ideal client, Y is the result or outcome, and Z is the benefit. I help small businesses learn social media so they can grow a bigger audience. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like
I think if I did mine, I would do I help um, people who now I'm thinking. I help. I want to avoid using the word newbies. I help people who have zero experience uh, making money on the internet get started with their first website, so that they understand. Was it so that they something and then the benefit?
Yeah, so is the last one. So it's help
So
do so.
go ahead.
I was saying it's help do and so. So is the last one. So is the benefit.
Oh, maybe I need to put more thought into this.
It's kind of
So they. It sounds too generic, but I want to say get started on the right foot. Maybe I help people with zero experience in internet marketing know the difference between what how a real marketer actually makes money,
mhm.
uh, so that they can get started on the right path.
Right, and avoid being scammed because that's kind of what you do. Your reviews, right?
Right, like I did a review today of this product going around where it's like oddly enough about siloing. It automatically creates a blog for you based on this silo structure.
Mhm.
And which, for anyone who doesn't know what a silo is, it's like just a way to structure your blog, like organize it. Anyway, it automatically creates this blog and then takes content from other sources, and people are like all into it. They're like, you don't have to create the content, you don't have to create the website, and then you just automatically get traffic. I was like, no, I don't care what kind of software that is not going to happen. And people don't know the difference. So okay, so I'm comfortable with that definition of my audience.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's one of those things like kind of like you're supposed to write up a business plan. It's one of those things that always kind of gets shoved to the back, especially by me. But once I did that, man, I really started, you know, at least feeling like what I had to say I was getting to, because you know how when you're writing something, they always tell you to go, Jay and Kyle and all them are always telling you, don't worry about the word count. You're done when you've explained it all. Well, doing this XYZ thing has helped me feel like I've been able to get to that point a lot better and a lot more clearly. So,
Yeah, and I think my defining my audience is very much trial and error. I know sometimes when we talk about um, less concrete ideas like this, like defining your audience or finding an avatar or
uh-huh.
stuff like that, it can be kind of scary for people when they get started because they're like, I don't know what the hell that is. I don't even know how the whole system works. And I didn't when I got started either. I mean, it's very much been trial and error, and I haven't obviously I haven't really set something in stone yet, and it may change a little bit later. So I think if people are worried about that type of stuff, like just get started and keep these things in the back of your mind. And if you keep thinking about it, it's something that you'll like chip away at and slowly define, rather than sitting down and writing on a piece of paper and sticking it on your wall. This is this is my final goal, and it's never going to change.
Yeah, that's probably like the other end of that. It's like kind of the worst thing you could do is stick to that because, I mean, especially online, things change all the time. You always hear about how big businesses get started, and most of the time, what they are now is nothing what they started out to be. So being able to be flexible on that is a big deal. I think though, when you're new, at least when I was new online, all this stuff that we're talking about right now, like you just said, I don't know what they're talking about, so I'm just going to move on. And I think that's really probably the most important thing of getting started online is, I mean, because there's so much stuff you don't know, and I mean, we've all let something or other cripple us for an hour or a day, or sometimes more than that, while you're just beating your head against the wall trying to figure it out. But I mean, I know I did it a lot when I started, but just continuing to move on and remembering, like you said, that there's these other things that you might need to know, like this thing, this XYZ thing or this perfect avatar thing, and eventually all that kind of stuff will click in.
So I have a question for you. As you progress and develop your site, what do you do if your own outlook on stuff changes? Like you grow as a person and you grow as a marketer and you figure stuff out. No one knows everything in the beginning. Um, how do you deal with you? Let's say you define your audience and then later on you realize you kind of want to move in a different direction. How does that whole process work?
Yeah, that's my problem right now. I don't have a good answer for that. That's why I started digging into all this stuff because um, that's where I was at. When I started like Media Fresh Press and stuff like that, I had a different idea in mind, and doing these hangouts has really helped me with your help and just talking about it, and with Jay's help, and Megan, everybody leaving comments and stuff like that. I mean, when we talk through stuff, you work it out in your head. So when I started Media Fresh Press, it was totally different, and my view of things has changed quite a few times, and that's why the site's where it's at right now. So I really don't have a good answer for that, other than trying to think about stuff like this more often, without obviously letting it stop you from doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is publishing content, learning, and just moving forward.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I had the same problem with my email list that I'd try certain things or I'd try certain emails with certain tones, and sometimes it would work, sometimes it didn't, but it was always a little bit different. And the conclusion I kind of came to is like, well, unfortunately, you're going to lose people. Like, you can't stagnate. You can't stay in one place, and you may change down the road. And the people that are still with you, they'll stay with you, and the people that don't, they're going to find whatever else is going to fulfill whatever need they have. And you just kind of have to deal with that. Hopefully, your business is growing. So, like, let's say today I have 10 people who follow my website, and then I change something and I alienate 5 of them. Okay, that's 50%. It's a big number. But a year down the road, I may have 1,000 people following my website or on my list or doing whatever. So those 5 people, even though I kind of I changed, it's just kind of something you have to deal with. You lose some people in the beginning to gain more later on.
Yeah, and I think like we even discussed with an email list, you're always going to be kind of dropping people. And I think that's just a natural process of working or doing the work that we do and having subscribers and followers and all that. People are just naturally going to drop off. But one thing I was thinking about when you were saying that is that do you know who Tom Ewer is?
Mm-mm.
He's kind of a popular blogger. He owns Leaving Work Behind or something like that. He's a pretty popular blogger. So, me, I'm not afraid to I think some people are, maybe, I guess, but I'm not afraid to email these people and ask them questions. I do it all the time. I've done it with Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
I've done it with a few other people too. So, Tom Ewer's blog, he has this blog, and all his pages are kind of set up to get like clients for, I guess he does social media type work, something like that. But he's got all these new bloggers that come to his site, and I was like, man, how are you accomplishing that? How are you, because in theory, his money comes in when he gets a new client. A client for him is probably like a small business, maybe a big business or whatever, but it's somebody that's not a new blogger, right? But he's got all these new people or new bloggers coming to him and asking, new questions like, how do I set up WordPress and stuff like that. So I emailed him and asked him about it. And here's why, because like on Media Fresh Press, I started it out as something kind of totally different. Then, I took to, I really want to help affiliate bloggers and stuff like that because I do like affiliate marketing. And then I slowly realized that I have other stuff I want to talk about too. And so right now it's kind of like I want to show people how to earn money with affiliate marketing and also as a freelancer. So that's kind of two different things, and it gets me stuck sometimes. Like how do I accomplish this? And he wrote me back and told me that he did it by accident. So it didn't help much. But he also said, and I hate to use this again, but I used it last week or the week before when we were talking about research. But he also said to find the overlap between these two people.
Okay.
So, but to give
I
you,
don't know I don't remember you saying that last week. That's good.
yeah,
That's pretty much what I wanted to respond. Not so quite well worded, but yeah, I would say find out where the common thread is and take that kind of angle. Because I mean, you're you, and you're interested in these two things, so there's got to be other people out there who are also interested in that.
yeah, I hope so. So we'll see.
Like
But
making money through content creation or something like, I guess, content marketing.
yeah,
Writers making money, something like that.
yeah. So it's something like that is like it's difficult, but damn it, I lost what I was gonna say.
A lot of that going around today.
Yeah, I guess so, man. So anyway, that's that. I think we touched on that topic pretty good.
All right. Well, speaking of creating content,
Right.
Another question for you.
Okay.
How do you know the difference between what your audience needs and what they want? And what do you give them? That's not, maybe for some niches it's not always so different. For me, I feel like a lot of times it's quite different.
So how do you know what they need and what they want, and what do you give them? Is that the question?
Right. Like, for example, for me, a lot of people land on my blog and they're like, how do I make easy money? How do I make autopilot income with no investment? What program will teach me how to make money, and then I only have to pay them after I start making money? Stuff like that. And so that's what they want. They want an easy solution to fix their financial woes. And I'm kind of like, well, I got to give them what they need, which is telling them, sorry, dude, you're in the wrong place. You need to set your priorities. You need to make sure you have money to support yourself while you learn this. It's going to take a while. You might fail for a year. You might fail 2 years. But if I go out and say that, like, hey, dude, you might be working on this for 2 years before you make any money in it, they're going to go to whatever other scheme that's going to say, okay, well, you can start making money next week. And those guys are going to make the sale. And it's not always about making the sale, but it's like these guys are going to have a much better chance of success, I feel, with what I'm teaching. But if I give them the whole the whole shebang of what's going on, they're going to run away because it is hard and it does suck sometimes. So it's like, for me, I find it hard to find a balance.
Yeah, I can imagine. When you said that, you know what it reminded me of, though, right? The whole John Deere story and Steve Jobs story. Everything reminds me of a Steve Jobs story, man. Sorry.
I don't know. What is that? Which, by the way, I started watching that movie and it was terrible.
The movie is terrible. Thank you, man. It is horrible. What a piece of crap. I don't know why they did that.
I thought it was really insulting to Steve Jobs. I'm not a big Apple fan, and I'm not like a Steve Jobs worshiper, but I thought it was putting Ashton Kutcher in there and the way they set the movie up. Like in the first 10 minutes, Ashton Kutcher was like crying about his parents putting him up for adoption, and I saw an interview with Steve Jobs, and he was like totally over it. He's like, whatever, it happened. These are my adoptive parents are my real parents, but they tried to like spin this whole dramatic story about how Steve, he couldn't find a niche. He was such an artistic genius with these technical capabilities, and he's like trying to put two and two together, and I just don't think it happened that way. Anyway.
The movie, I mean, all I know about him was the book, which I haven't read, but I've listened to it probably 2 or 3 times, man. It's a really great book. It's his biography by Walter Isaacson. but the movie was just horrible. I don't remember the part you're talking about, but I know in the book, he talked about that he was okay with all that, the whole adoption thing, and I don't think it ever bothered him. He had a chance to meet his real dad, and he passed on it. So, but anyway, what
Yeah,
was the question is, John Deere's famous statement is, if I would have give the people what they wanted, or if I would have made what the people wanted, I would have built a faster horse, right, instead of a tractor.
Wow.
I think I'm getting that confused with Henry Ford and John Deere. Anyway, and
Close enough. One of those guys.
Yeah, you get the point.
Yeah.
And Steve Jobs is kind of the same way. He said that people don't know what they want until you show it to them, and that's true, man. I mean, it sounds kind of like stubborn, and I guess it is in a way, but it's true. I mean, the iPhone and all that stuff's a great example, just like the car is a great example. Nobody would have knew they wanted that until they seen it,
Yeah.
Like, oh crap, I really want that. So I don't know if that's necessarily the answer to your specific question, but it's probably because your question, I mean, that's a problem that every website has. Everybody comes to it and they want a push button paycheck, and it just don't happen.
Can you think of any examples? What's that?
I was saying lying to them like some of these other guys do is only a short-lived thing. They don't. Well, they create products every other day because they can't have a stable business because they're lying to everybody.
Oh yeah. What I was going to ask you is, can you think of an example outside of the make money niche? Because I think it's important to kind of give some insight for people that are not in the make money niche, because I tend to talk about that because that's like my main focus now. But like, what could be an example of that same question of what customers want versus need in a different niche?
Well, let's just take your brew niche, for example, right? That's something I don't really know about, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of what is all involved there.
Yeah, I guess one thing would be maybe people get. I think there's issues with prices of equipment. Like, some people might be inclined to pay for really expensive equipment that they don't need, and so they think that the more expensive equipment is going to make better beer, when actually they could be using cheaper equipment, but they need to buy this certain ingredient that they're missing. Or people can go the other way around, where they absolutely refuse to buy expensive equipment because they don't want to spend the money. But you're like, hey, this equipment is more expensive, but it's really going to make a difference in this part of your beer. So I think if you were in that niche, in the homebrew niche, that you could have to sort of change people's mind in that way.
This is a tough question. This is like another one of those questions that's probably going to bug me now for weeks. I don't even have the Q&A thing open. Let me see if somebody said anything.
Yeah, Megan just posted something.
Huh?
Megan just posted something.
Oh, she did. Only get Jay's here right here. He says, we are our worst critics. I wouldn't be concerned about it too much.
That was from way back in the beginning when we were talking about finding your audience.
Sorry. I left this thing totally closed down. Megan says, I have great examples in my corsetry niche. Corsetry, is that how you say that? Corsetry. People want to be thin and weight train right now. Everybody wants everything right now, man. I don't know. That's another niche I really don't know nothing about. That's a really tough question, dude. I think everybody, no matter what niche you're in, is going to want it right now. So maybe, I don't know, like doing a drip feed type thing, the information that's going to get them to the point they want to be at. I don't know. It's kind of like a carrot, holding the carrot over their head a little bit. But, I mean, if you're truly helping, people need this information, right? If they want to quit their job, or if they want to get thinner, if they want to do this, then they need to know that it's not going to happen overnight. But if you tell them that, then you'll chase them off, and then they're just going to go get scammed by somebody that will tell them that. So it's kind of your job to do that. Now, it's kind of weird, but it is your job. I can't remember. Somebody told me that recently. It's your job to help these people, and you got to do it any way you can.
I think that's the video you posted of me. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but where the guy said it's your job as a marketer to deliver them exactly the amount of value that they deserve as your customer. It's your responsibility. And if you deliver less, if you allow them to buy something that's worth less value, then you're, what's the word? Not insulting, like you're wasting their money. You're abusing their trust as a customer, even though they're not your customer. It's like they're coming to your zone and they're now part of your club, and if you allow them to leave and get something that you think they deserve more, then I don't know, you're a bad guy.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I remember this conversation now a little bit, but yeah, that's a good point. But it's getting them there. I don't know, man. Like I said,
like an example would be, let's say you're in the weight loss niche and you have a really great system that, let's say it takes 6 months and you're going to lose like a decent amount of weight. What's like the moral line where you say, where you kind of leave, like in marketing speak, you leave out certain information. You can say just a few months. You can lose 20 pounds in a few months. Now, it takes 6 months, but you say a few months, and you know that people are going to read that, and they're going to assume too. Now, this works because you did it yourself. Where do you draw the line? Do you say it's going to take 6 months, and then they're going to leave? I don't have 6 months. They're going to leave and go buy, a Kyberry solution that's supposed to drop 20 pounds in 6 weeks.
And we talk about this. This is like the thin gray line of marketing that we always talk about. In that situation, I think it's okay to say a few months or something. Because you got to get them in there. As long as you got something really, that's going to help them. And I think anybody listening to this does, pretty much. I don't know everybody that's listening to it, but the ones I know are offering valid information or real products. So you've got to get them in the door one way or the other. That's your job, again. So, personally, I'd be fine with saying that, a few months. If it's 6 months, I'd be totally okay with saying a few months.
Jay's got a good comment here.
Pull it up. Jay says, like it takes a solid year. That's Megan. Sorry, man. Megan says, like it takes a solid year to get your waist trained, and they're looking for that magic corset. But showing them what it takes to waist train healthy is what they need. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're saying. Let me get Jay's up here. If you can convince people that the more expensive product or service is worth the money, they will likely buy it. That's a really great one. This is the whole reason why they read your content. They want other people's personal experiences to determine their purchasing. You get it? That makes a lot of sense.
Jay, is that like a thing that people say that about the most expensive product? That people are more willing to buy something that's more expensive because maybe they see it has more value in it?
I think that's true for sure. See what he says, but you've heard that thing, if you give away something, people just leave it in their file forever, right?
Yeah.
Put a price tag on it, they're more likely to read it. You get a free ebook, you're not going to read it. You spend $2,000 on that ebook, you're going to read it.
Yeah, that's true. Talking about the personal experiences thing, I've had a string of people message me recently, and they're like, I don't know if this affiliate marketing thing is for me because I just don't know how to sell. And what I've told them is like, you don't really have to sell anything. Like, if you get the right keywords and you write and you look for topics that people are already interested in, the products basically sell themselves because people have a problem and they're looking for a solution to it. And all you have to do is show them the solution. You're like, here's the problem. I know what you're talking about. Here's the product. This is what it does. Like a lot of people are going to make the connection by themselves. You just kind of have to show them the pathway instead of like you rock up to their door and you're like, you didn't know you have this problem, but you do. Here's the solution for it. Like you've got to do way too much convincing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons people get into affiliate marketing is because they don't like to sell. There was something I read recently about. I think it kind of goes back to what Jay was saying too. If you can convince them, then you really don't have to hard sell and stuff like that. But that's why I liked affiliate marketing because it seemed like all I had to do was put the information out there and it would sell itself. Jay says, correct, people perceive quality with cost, whereas the money you spend, the better the quality.
I'll tell you what, like a trap that I got in when I first started was always trying to show people the cheapest one. And you would think that, and I've seen a lot of people do this with their own niches, where they're like, okay, I want to show people discount items. I want to help people save money, which is great. But a lot of times the people that are looking for deals are the ones that are least willing to spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it depends on what you say, what's quality and value and price and all that stuff. But it's almost easier just to look at things not as the best. You only market whatever's the best and you ignore what the prices are, because the people that are going to buy expensive stuff are the ones that are going to make you money. They're going to make you sales. I mean, you can have a budget option as a convenience, or as so you have a well-rounded site. But doing the deal thing never worked for me.
I think that's another big problem that a lot of people fall into, myself included, because you just think that everybody's on a certain budget and that everybody only wants to spend, a certain amount. But I mean, you'll find once you're online for a little while, not you, Nathan, but just you in general, everybody in general, you'll find that there's a whole big group of people out there that they don't want to spend time searching for the cheapest answer to their solution. They don't want to spend all this time. They've got the money, they want the answer, and they're willing to pay for it now. There's a big group of people out there like that.
Jay makes a good point here. He says, frugal spenders, the reason why the starter account in WA is not called a free account. I've tried to exclude, you know what, I don't even link the word free anymore on my website. When I was doing like computer software stuff, I would always link like free or cheap or budget or stuff like that. And with WA stuff, I mention it as little as possible. I mean, you can get started for free, blah blah blah. That's part of the sale pitch, but I don't make that like the final deciding point for people. I'm like, okay, this is one of the perks, but this is more important. The support, the quality, personal help, whatever.
Mm-hmm. I never thought about that, about the starter account at WA. That's a great point too. Now I have to go through and reread all my stuff because I'm sure it's all over it.
Because a lot of the people that want free stuff, they're like, what do you mean it's not free forever? Unlimited support with unlimited data and bandwidth and hosting. What do you mean I have to pay you? What do you mean you're making money off of this?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I had a guy, I don't know if it's just the time of year or what, but I've been getting a lot of messages too lately from people, especially on Facebook, and that's where I don't even hardly spend any time on Facebook, and I get messages from new people all the time, But somebody started a conversation with me about affiliate marketing, and I try to talk to everybody when they talk. And I don't like to ignore people, man. It makes me feel bad. But I should have ignored this guy, but I didn't. And he was going on and on. He's like, "So you're NWA?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I am." And he just went off like, "Did you know they charge you for this and that?" And I was like, "Of course they do, man. What do you mean? There's great information in there. I mean, you're getting all this stuff, websites and everything else." And he's like, "Information should be free." I was like, "Not that information. Not every information can be free." It was crazy, man.
Yeah, I've written about that before. Some people are like serial freebie hunters. They're like the ones that are on Pirate Bay, and not that I've never been on Pirate Bay in my life, but
What is that?
You never what? You never heard of Pirate Bay?
No, I mean, I guess I could pretty much figure out what it is, but
Yeah, it's like a free. It's like a torrent site where you can download stuff for free, and movies and TV shows, and they have software as well. The downside is that most of the software you get has like adware and viruses and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's why I don't look for that stuff anymore, man. I've got one computer here and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, as I used to download that stuff, and as I want to say grew up or became more mature, I'm like, I don't want to deal with like worrying about what viruses I'm getting from free software because I'm too cheap to spend $20 on something.
Right, and that goes back to the point we were talking about earlier, right? Is where there's a free option over here, a cheaper option, but who cares? It's too much of a hassle. You got to go hunt it down, and who knows what's going to happen when you really do get it? I mean, you get what you pay for, and that's a universal slogan there. Everybody knows what that means.
Yeah, like I bought this Optinmonster, which is, I don't know if I told you, is like a plugin for. Did I tell you?
No, I'm looking at Megan's comments.
Oh, it's yeah. She says Pirate Bay is my homepage.
Yeah.
We're talking about you. But yeah, I bought Optinmonster, which is basically just different kinds of opt-in forms. You got like a slide-in opt-in thing, a sidebar opt-in thing, various types of things to have people opt into your list. And they have free ones, but I spent $200 on the paid one because I know it's going to work. I know it's not going to be a security issue. I know they're going to have updates and support. They're going to have more options. It's going to be cleaner looking. Like I don't know. That's what I was looking for as a buyer with money.
Yeah, it's worth the money. We're coming up on an hour here, but I don't feel like we really tackled this. This is a question that it's gonna bug me, man. We talk about this a lot. I'd like to try to bring it up again next time, but just what we're talking about is trying to get people to the endpoint they know they need to be at, right? Or they need to be at the endpoint they want, but without chasing them away, right? Sorry, I'm bringing that up because it's getting close to the end of that hour here, and I don't feel it. I don't know. Maybe that's one of those things you can't never really solve for each niche, but anyway.
Sorry, was there a question in there?
No, there was not.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were saying something or asking.
No, I was just saying maybe we should try to dig into this topic a little bit more next week because I don't feel like we really covered it well, but.
It's a hard question because it's not a concrete question. I mean, the end thing is how do you get people to buy stuff? But that's a complicated answer.
Yeah. We were also going to talk a little bit about silos, which we did a little bit. There's a couple other things we didn't really get to talk about, but there's always next week. So.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the notes here to see if there's anything we could cover real quick. Oh, one thing that's interesting that took me a long time to understand, which is on the topic of creating content, is showing versus telling. And Kyle used to talk a lot about this, and I didn't really get what the difference was. where he'd always talk about you have to show people stuff. Showing people stuff is going to convert a lot better than telling people stuff. And it's only recently that I've kind of started to figure that out. Trying to think of a good example, which is not coming off the hip real well. It's like if you want to tell people how to, or end result is you want people to set up their first WordPress site, you can write in text, first set up your hosting, first buy a hosting account, next buy a domain, third change the DNS. And a lot of people will be lost at that point, lost at square one. Set up a hosting account, what is that? But with screenshots and video and if you walk someone through it step by step, then that's going to convert a lot better to sales because people are going to be able to follow your thought process and you're not going to lose anyone along the way. So you say set up a hosting account, take a screenshot of HostGator or WA or wherever you're going to host, be like, okay, here's where you sign up, and give them a link. And then you're like, okay, once this is set up, this is what you will see. This is the setup page. This is the home page account. This is what you'll see. Then you click on this, and then the following instructions. That's kind of like a tutorial type thing, but I think the same stuff could work with sales, like the lose weight thing. Let me see if I can think of a better.
I'll give you.
Was that?
I was just going to give you an example. I read a 5K in 5 weeks thing the other day. I was thinking about running, but it said 5 weeks. I'm like, man, there's no way. I'm not training for 5 weeks to do this. Is that a good? I was trying to give you another example. It wasn't in the Make Money.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. I thought they. So you're saying they just told you, they didn't show you?
Right. Yeah. It was just all this stuff about how to train for 5 weeks. I was just all text.
That's a perfect example. Like, so then if they had shown you, if they had said, okay, here's week 1, this is what your training schedule would look like. Okay, week 1, day 1, because I've heard of that. I tried to do this. I was going to run a half marathon this month, and it never panned out. But when I saw what the schedule looked like, it's not that bad. It's like, okay, the first week you start out at 3 miles 3 times a week, and this is your target pace. And then you slowly increase each week. So the next week you do 3 miles at a faster pace, and the next week you do 4 miles, and then you take a rest week, and then you bump it up and back and forth. And when they explain that, you're like, oh, okay, this is manageable. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll download that runner app that you're selling for $5.
Yeah, so that's a good point. I think that's kind of what Jay was saying too in the first thing, is kind of showing them how to get to that point. And I guess that's what copywriting is all about. Not necessarily copywriting, but good writing is getting them to that point and using images and stuff like that to show them. I still don't feel like I really get it, though. I'm not going to
lie. Jay's got a good example of a video showing people some... You got to see this video. I wonder if you can pull this up.
All right, let me pull it up. Megan says we should do another hot seat. I had that up there, so I'm gonna drop that down. We probably should. It's been a long time since we've done one.
Yeah.
Do you got the video up? Is it like safe for work or what?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, it should be. Yeah. Let me.
Do you got it?
Yeah, I'm gonna screen share here.
All right, hold on.
Can you see that? Can you blue box me?
Yeah.
My blue box?
Yeah, your blue box, but
you don't see it?
I just see your profile picture.
I wonder if it's not showing the Vimeo video. What do you see now?
Same thing.
Really?
Just your profile. Yep.
You don't see the
nope.
infinite.
Nope. Just.
Let me see. Okay, what about now? Do you see me?
Yeah, I see you now.
What about now? Do you see you?
I don't see. Oh yeah, now I see me.
Okay, what about now?
Now I got you.
Can you see get started, earn your money?
Yep, I see it all. I see the Vimeo thing.
Okay, let me know if you don't hear the audio.
All right.
Hi, my name is Jay, and
Can you hear that?
Yep.
I'm a live training coach inside Wealthy Affiliate. I want to show you how you can take $20, invest that, and you can turn it into this. By immersing yourself inside Wealthy Affiliate and becoming a premium member, which only costs you less than $20 for your first month, you can immerse yourself within the training, learn how to do SEO, search engine marketing, and essentially you can take that skill and you can apply that to local businesses where you can rank these businesses within the search engines within their local community and earn yourself thousands and thousands of dollars by doing this. Now, it's not easy money. I'll tell you that right now. It's not easy. It takes work, dedication, and also a lot of perseverance. But if you have those qualities, or you think you have those qualities, I want you to take this so that you can turn it into this. I hope to see you inside Wealthy Affiliate. Thanks.
Jay, making it rain.
Oh my god. That's pretty good. Where do I sign up?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, it was honest. It's not easy money. He explained the basics of what you'd be doing. You know, flash a little bit of money in there, get some interest, and yeah.
You know, I was gonna say I didn't want to interrupt the video though. I have to go watch that again. But Jay, you said something there that I've been trying to communicate for a while on my blog, and I haven't been able to. I'm sorry, that was hilarious. I don't know. It was a good video. What you said was really good. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. But I like how he did what you said. He covered all of it and made it, you know, believable. He made you want to sign up. It was funny and didn't lie. So yeah, that was pretty good. This Jay guy, man, he must be a pro or something.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
Oh, yeah. Let's see, what else do we have? I want to try to get all these. Megan calls dibs on the hot seat. So next time we do one of those, we'll get back with her again. We can see the video. Yeah, it's totally straightforward. Jay says, by the way, that's Canadian money. It's important. What else?
He says it's converting like crazy on his Facebook ads.
I couldn't believe it. Oh, there's your XYZ thing from Megan. Nathaniel, you help new internet marketers stay away from scams so they can better their site and lives. Bam! You're welcome, she says. Write that down.
I am writing it down right now.
Yeah. People want to see success and proof inside WA, and it's not instant, or if it's not instant, they become disappointed. This is true. Megan says, my kid just asked why Bill Nye was tossing money around in the video. Sorry, Go. That's pretty funny. Alright, I guess that's it. That's all the comments. You got anything else you want to add before we sign off out of here?
That's about it.
Alright, that's good. I hope everybody had a good time. I had fun. I hope it was as good for you as it was for me. And we will be back.
It was great for me.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. The first. We'll be back next week, Thursday at 7 Eastern for, is that Pacific?
7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a
See you
great
later. Stopping by.